Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are, and welcome to another NerdTube Star Trek episode review. We're here talking tonight about Star Trek Strange New World, Season 3, Episode 9, Terrarium. It was written by Alan B. McElroy and directed by Andrew Clotis. But it would not be a NerdTube Star Trek review if I was not joined by some fellow Trekkies in arms. Tonight we have Zam. How are you, sir?
Why, thank you. May I just add, it took 3 seasons and 29 episodes, but we finally got our Ortega's episode.
Mm-hmm. It's about damn time. We finally get to know kind of who she is, and more than just that she flies the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And Lord Donkey, how are you tonight, sir?
I'm good. It's yes, we got our Ortega's episode, and we found out that she really knows how to talk to herself.
That she does. That she does. I've got some thoughts on kind of her personality and such.
Are
But
we gonna be listening to her talk to herself the entire episode? Which, not too bad, but okay. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out why I'm yellow. So
It's all right. Just keep it like that. If you tamper with it, then we're gonna have to deal with other fuck ups.
it's a solar effect from the
it's a filter.
main
From
viewing
the
screen.
anus looking wormhole.
Why did my husband say the same thing, Zam?
Because we are great minds. It looked like a giant fiery butthole, like somebody, like a spaceman, had too much spicy food, and that was the result. A fiery butthole in space.
Yes.
But speaking of the wormhole strands Ortegas on a moon this episode of a gas giant where she makes an unlikely ally and friend. Meanwhile, Uhura fights to keep the search going on Enterprise, even compromising her integrity to do so. Before we get into like some of the different plot arcs for this episode, the A plot runner and B plot runner, and the twist I'd like to discuss in particular. Let's do some overall impressions, starting with you, Zam. What did you think of this episode?
Sorry, 1 second. Can you start with Lord
Absolutely.
Donkey?
Donkey, what were your overall thoughts?
This is probably one of the strongest episodes of the season. I don't know if that's saying too much. It still, I feel like, relied on a quick premise to isolate one person or so and so for the plot, and then jump right into it. Like, she was supposed to go deploy a sensor buoy or beacon or something, and didn't get to do that, and it just jumped right into the wormhole appearing. But other than that, and a lot of talking to yourself, and yeah, I don't know. Overall, okay. For some of the not so great ones we've had the last couple episodes.
Yeah, I definitely agree that this has been one of a weak season so far. Zam.
Okay, sorry. Do I sound better now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have my issue with my microphone. So, yeah, this is one of the better episodes, probably the best episode of the season, probably since the opening episode of the season. I will say that this was basically Enemy Mine in space, and if you've seen Enemy Mine, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm sure Daniel Vance does. Please tell me you guys have seen Enemy Mine. Oh my god, good man. Regardless, it was much better than some of the previous episodes we've had this season, but it was just okay. It was good. It was good, but I'm still waiting for that great episode. And I don't know if we'll get it this season, which is a shame, really. But regardless, considering what we have been getting, it felt like more of a return to form. But that twist, it just well, I don't know about that bit, but other than that, most of it was returned to form.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. And now I've got some overall thoughts from Cheeto, who unfortunately couldn't be with us tonight. Um, he's saying that he thought it was a near perfect episode until the end, in his opinion. When they killed Ortegas' new friend, he really didn't agree with that creative choice. And
Spoilers.
the and the he didn't like the recycling aspect of the individual from the twist. But just felt like it got ruined by some poor writing and nostalgia bait in an attempt to preserve continuity.
We've been seeing anyone. Okay, I just want to get to some comments here.
Okay.
Long Donkey's using the 70s filter, which catches just how brown everything really was. Yep. Zan's camera is blue shifted, proving he's moving at us at the speed of light. What exactly has happened is that my main lights are off, and I've only got my hexagonal lights. You can see them kind of behind me there. If I can put them on those ones, but I'm switching those ones off because
Zam, we're just
my
playing
parents are
photo.
asleep.
You're blue and I'm orange.
Yep, there you go. And my parents are sleeping, so um. Ortega's log upon crashing was reminiscent of Crichton's opening monologue in Farscape. I have not seen that, so I have no idea. Maybe you guys can fill this in. Um, I thought that, but I found it more like Darmok Jalad in TNG, yeah.
Hmm.
Or the episode with Geordie with the Romulans stuck on the planet together. Yeah, I remember that one too. There's a few planets. There was one with 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 uh Trip and somebody stuck on the planet. There was
The
also him stuck with the alien lady, and there's one with Bashir stuck on.
mhm.
There's always these sort of survival episodes stuck on the planet, waiting for the eventuality of Starfleet saving you. Like it will happen eventually, but there's always this episode got a bit of Robinson Crusoe in space sort of shit. So yeah, Eric B has seen Enemy Mine. Yeah, watch Enemy Mine if you get a chance. Um, the show, this episode sucked. Come on, look, Rick B. Every episode sucks for you,
That,
but you gotta be a bit more judgmental, mate, because this episode, without doubt, was a lot better than what we previously had. But
yeah,
I just think I think it's better. I don't think it's great. And finally, now after Gorn had babies, died, and Ortega raised the kids, then enemy wise, yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah. All right. Let's continue.
Okay, so this week I wanted to kind of talk about it in sections. Start with Ortegas and the Gorn, move on to Uhura and the Search, and then at the end, when we right before our marks, talk about the twist ending and what we thought about that. Um,
Okay.
so with Ortegas and the Gorn, she starts off on this barren rocky surface with seismic activity in the orbit, this causing the atmosphere of the gas giant to wash over the moon at points and toxic storm. I felt like that was some nice difficulties for our hero to have to face this episode.
Yeah, I agree. I just also like to add that the way they made the location look was fabulous.
Mhm.
that
I
gas
really like the
giant
look of.
background. Hmm.
Yeah. And then I knew, it's gonna be a bit like Castaway, where like she's lost her food, she's got no water, and so she has to figure shit out. And obviously, she made a water condenser. Fair enough. And then she then tried to figure out how to make food. Well, I mean, not figure out, but then I knew that she would have to eat the animals on the planet, and stuff like that. So I'll find some sort of vegetation growing. But yeah,
Right. I thought she was trying to go out there and forage, and it was when she figured out, oh, this moon's going to go through that gas giant. Like, so what are you trying to forage for?
yeah.
then she runs into her soon-to-be friend.
Yeah, on her search for shelter, she eventually finds the shelter of the fellow occupant that turns out to be a Gorn. It returns, and Ortegas kind of has to hide from it. But with this, it begins this whole trope of surviving with one's enemy and learning that your enemy's not so different from you. And that slow realization and gradual change in attitude, I felt like was a really good aspect of this episode and a very kind of Trek thing to have as a moral for the story.
It's weird in a way because the Gorn has been made out to be a very aggressive species, and this particular Gorn is looking for company, but the Gorn have been established as very callous beings that actually will kill their own. They will kill themselves over failure and weakness and stuff like that. Being injured and all of that sort of shit. So it was very it really took it was really hard at the time for me to grasp. Okay, fine, this is how we're going with it. Like that this Gorn is really going against its own instincts, so to speak. But I mean, like, as soon as the Gorn saw Ortegas, the Gorn probably thought, finally, I can eat something different now. But no, like I want to be friends with you instead. And that's how I think the Gorn should have thought. That's the mindset of the Gorn. That's where I thought he should have gone personally. But anyway, who am I?
It took for certain a very strong willful suspension of disbelief to kind of rectify the differences between the Gorn as we've been presented with them and the Gorn, this particular one in this episode. But IDIC, there's always kind of outliers in any population.
Yeah, partially it felt to me a little bit like, oh, this is how the writers are planning to get Erica past the trauma that they've been showing her go through this whole season, with the Gorn continuing to pop up. Like they had to resolve that somehow, and this was like, oh, let's just force the two of them together, in something we've definitely seen before, but through Strange New Worlds lens and through Erica's episode-long voiceover, which I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. So
just to backtrack a little bit, I was watching Jessie Gender's review of this, and the reason why I watch it is because she mentioned stuff that might go over my head, and I didn't realize whilst watching the episode. And one of the things is that why does Starfleet always do these crazy excursion episodes or moments when they also at the same time have to be delivering a shitload of vaccines, to a whole bunch of people who are dying and need it desperately? Like, couldn't Ortegas's little scheme be put aside until the more important shit was to get vaccines to people, so they won't die? Like, this shit happens all the time. Like, all the time. Just saying.
Writers just need a ticking clock of some type. If it's not that, it's going to be the ship's in peril itself.
Yeah, the choice of needs of the many or the needs of the one.
Yeah.
Hello.
Okay, let's get to some comments. So sorry, where the hell are we with the comments? I thought the LED set effects looked really good, but it wasn't paired with light and smoke effects that well. Or it felt like the storm was over there. Yeah, I know what you mean, but I think I think I know at the same time it was supposed to be the point. Like you can see the storm, but it wasn't. At first, I thought to myself, "Oh, Tejas, turn around! There's a storm coming." But no, they didn't give a shit because it was always just over there. Hello, Winnie. I wonder if the Gorn didn't want to go back because they had escaped the solar effects of where it was, and I found some peace of mind where it was freedom or fought. Yeah, I mean literally just freedom, but it was injured as well. But the Gorn itself couldn't go back because it had failed
Hmm.
to a degree. Um, place your bets on whether or not Zam will fall asleep before. Yeah, we'll place them quick. Um, The Enterprise was delivering supplies to the USS Constellation, Matt Decker's ship. He and the ship go to fight the Doomsday Machine.
Yeah,
Yes,
I caught
that
that. I
name,
wrote that down. Captain Decker.
Matt
So before he got promoted,
Matt Decker. Yeah, that name sounded
he was
familiar.
Commodore Decker, right?
I can't
In the
remember.
Doomsday
I
Machine.
just know it sounds familiar. I just couldn't really put a finger on it.
So, thanks for those comments, Sam. I
Thank
never
you.
know where to stop. So speaking of donkeys, brought up the Ortega's monologuing over and over. I feel like maybe her sense of humor is a load bearing coping mechanism for her,
Mm.
and kind of that was what they were trying to show us about her, maybe. But they bond together some, the Gorn and her, with her tending to its wound with the poultice and getting the yes and no translator going.
Agreed or disagreed, translator.
Hmm.
Right.
That was a little far fetched, but okay. I was concerned that we were just going to go the whole episode playing charades, and the Gorn just grunting and motioning. Like at
Rock
least we got
chess.
something to where they could communicate.
I found it strange that the Gorn had a Gorn game. It was a game that Gorns played. Is that correct? When she
Hmm.
Mhm.
rolled out that cloth, like what the hell? Gorns play board games,
They were
like
better at each other's games.
yeah. I don't know if I could play chess with all those rock pieces. You would really have to find significant looking rocks for me not to get confused. What the fuck is what? Anyway, that's
Yeah,
just me.
I would get mixed up too for certain. But I'm glad you brought up the game, because when she does win, Ortegas hangs on to the piece that she's supposed to eat. And pay attention, that'll come back later.
Eat this piece of, was it bone, right?
It looked like bone, yeah. That's
Eat the
Okay.
bone.
totally great for her digestive tract.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
they made that goddamn Gorn feel like upset that she wouldn't eat it, then happy when she pretended to eat it. You know, so it's silly at times, but fair enough. Yeah.
No. And then she makes the paper plane, which she had done so earlier in the episode, and we finally kind of get the significance of that, and that she makes them for luck. It's kind of a ritual that she has. And once again, we're seeing more of Ortegas's personality. And I feel like, I mean, Sam's pointed out it took 29 episodes to get to this point,
Hmm.
which
It's
so
just element about her. She sinks on her feet a little bit. There was a couple of moments where I didn't like where she's talking about seismic activities and she goes, whatever that means. I know you're a pilot, but you're also like a quantum scientist because as Geordie LaForge says, you learn quantum physics and science and shit like that as the basics in Starfleet. You know, all of these guys are like, bloody rocket scientists before they get to choose actually what they end up doing, in
Hmm.
Starfleet. So her to not know what seismic activities means I thought, come on. You know what I mean? I just don't say that. That's not true.
I'm pretty sure she knows what seismic activity means, but like the word before it might have thrown her for a loop. I'm forgetting what precise word it was, maybe intermittent. But
Fair enough.
just to play devil's advocate, I totally see what you're saying.
Yeah. I that sort of stuff bothers me. Just like in the I was just talking to you about the series Alien Earth. There's like one of the characters is like a junior engineer, and he didn't know the difference between the biologist and the geologist, and he's a junior engineer, so obviously biology and geology is not his field. But the fact that he didn't know the difference, you're a fucking astronaut on a spaceship, and you don't know the difference between these two things, like it shows you like what the fuck, like. This makes no sense.
Well,
Like what
there's
the
no
hell are you
public
doing on that?
schools left in that future, Zam. He just was part of Wayland. We just watched that last night.
But you saw you know what I'm on about then, yeah?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Anyway, I'm sorry, I
Rest in
won't
peace.
tangent anymore. But stuff like that bugs me. It really does. Yeah.
No, it's perfectly legitimate nitpick. But this is, we get to the part where she feels like she's being watched, and she sees the blinking and lights in the sky and wondering what's going on with that. And her sensors weren't working. The wormhole just snuck up on her. Tricorder's not picking up anything. Just this is where she really starts letting us know that she feels like something's hinky.
Daniel Vanter, he assumed the questioning the source of seismic activity, the wormhole and the gas giant had everything off kilter. Yeah, well, it wasn't very clear if that was the case, and like I said, anyway, let's move on. Let's move on from this. I don't want to dwindle on this too long.
No.
Yeah.
So eventually she comes up with the idea to use the flare, a flare of sorts, and ignite the atmosphere of this gas giant to send the signal. And after that, kind of they intersect. She gets eventually rescued, but La'an blasts the hell out of her Gorn friend.
Well, it had to be Lahan
That was
who done
the
it.
most predictable thing.
I don't know whether the Gorn once you saw them all come down on the planet armed. I thought, yeah, the Gorn is dead.
Oh yeah, no chance to
And
survive. Make your time.
yeah, and I've heard people arguing saying that's not very Starfleet like and stuff like that, but they've been dealing with the Gorn. This particular group of Starfleet officers. Leon especially has some issues with the Gorn. So the first time she sees a Gorn, she's gonna fucking kill it. It's very
Before it
easy
can
for
kill
people to
them.
say. Yeah, it's very easy for people to say the Starfleet issues and stuff like that.
Well-
These characters haven't spent the time with this Gorn like Ortega's has. They don't realize it's okay for us. We've seen it from a watcher's perspective, but these other characters haven't, and they know what the Gorn's about. They know what the Gorn's done to them, and they're not going to take any chances. And
No, it's
someone like,
perfectly reasonable.
yeah, especially Leanne, exactly. So I have no
And
problem. I mean, I didn't like it. I felt bad. It was a bittersweet ending, but I accepted it.
Donkey?
Yeah, we just had the What is Starfleet episode where Erica's brother's interviewing everyone, and La'an tries to not say that she shoots first, asks questions later, but um, tries to act like she only kills when it's necessary or kill or be killed. But clearly that doesn't apply to a single Gorn. That clearly, if they're both emerging from the same shelter, it's fine. So I think that deserves a point off for being so predictable, a trope of, oh, the enemy is with my friend, I'm going to kill it, even though they are clearly fine together, but just that split second of, oh, it's a Gorn, kill. And so much firepower too. Like the other landing
Yeah,
party was shooting
As
at the
the
Gorn
assault
too.
rifle
So
ones.
yeah, that
yeah.
that I was not impressed with.
I agree, but like the Gorn themselves have always been seen as an aggressive species. Like there's nothing about them that would make Starfleet even look at them in a humane way. So
Mm.
even if like I said, it's a perspective that we can see it from because we spent time with these characters. But Leon hasn't. She just walks in, is trying to rescue Ortega. There's a fucking Gorn behind you. You know what I mean? Yeah, treat it
And
like
it wasn't
Rodney
even
King.
like, oh, let's
Get your guns
capture
out.
it, let's interrogate it.
Yeah,
It was just kill it right away. That wasn't
yeah.
good.
I get it. I do get it, but I don't know. But at the same time, I get it from the shoot first, ask questions later perspective, considering what they've gone through with the Gorn. You know, it's very easy for us to say, "Oh, that's not Starfleet," and what. But at the same time, it's it's like to follow Starfleet's ordeals. Sorry, ethos. It's not always that straightforward. You know, it's these people are only human.
Right. And things aren't just white and black, they're shades of gray everywhere.
Yeah,
I feel like if they hadn't resolved it that way, they couldn't emphasize the moral they were trying to get across as
Yeah.
much. It makes the Gorn even more sympathetic and makes us question our tendencies to see the other as dangerous and scary.
And
yeah,
it's the problem of it being a prequel as well, where if this Gorn does survive, there's not much they can do with it.
No, they have to
Is it
clean it
supposed
up
to
for
be an
continuity.
ambassador, or like Erica saying, "Oh, we want come and help my people understand your people." That doesn't work with the rest of the series with
yeah. I
with
agree.
TOS.
Right.
You know,
So
I need to bring up this one thing because I'm worried I'm going to forget. But the Enterprise was a giant butt plug in space by keeping that wormhole open. You know, it
One more
wedged
time.
itself. It was a giant butt plug in space. Yeah. It wedged itself right into that
Is
fucking
that a
wormhole.
technical term from Starfleet?
I don't know, but that's why I thought, like we're gonna keep you lubed up, baby.
Have to
You know
keep
what I
it
mean?
gaping.
And keep it keeping. Yeah.
We don't want it to shrink anymore. Oh,
And
I
stuff like
won't
that.
ever be able to
And
see that episode again the same way.
I like Pike in this episode as well because he, whilst everyone else seemed to only give a damn about rescuing all the people and leaving Ortega behind because they didn't know she survived or not. And what I liked about Pike is that he was listening to everyone's opinions,
Mhm.
and yeah, he wasn't just following on with what he thought was best. At the same time, it was nobody's fool. He kind of knew that Uhura, like, played with the numbers a little bit,
Mhm.
but he deep down he wanted to save Ortega as well. So yeah, I thought Pike was very good in this episode. Much more of the captain that I appreciated from all the way back to Discovery even. So
Yeah.
yeah, he was good. All the characters were done well today.
I
This
agree.
was a much better
Dude,
a much better episode.
Also, it was
so
nice to see Spock sitting in the center seat
it was.
just for a moment. But that was something I had a little gripe with too. Pike saying, "Oh, I'm the best pilot on the ship aside from Ortegas." What happened to our other pilot from the first episode of this season,
Yeah, no, it's
who
not just about you
refused
telling me.
to take a break until they were safe?
Oh, Mitchell? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking to myself, surely you should have at least like half a dozen fucking pilots, or people capable of piloting the ship. I get it if Pike thinks of himself as the best pilot, then yeah, that makes sense. But at least he didn't mention he was the only pilot. because that would be
Right.
fucking stupid. But the best, which is fine, fair, makes sense. That's why he was in that seat, which is, a clever way of putting a spin on things. But there should be more pilots. There should be.
Agreed. So, do you guys have anything else you want to talk about in particular, specifically with the Ortegas and the Gorn on the surface of the planet, or are we good to switch gears and talk about the search up on Enterprise?
Let's switch gears.
Sounds good. So, we've established that they have the ticking clock due to the need to meet with the Constellation and deliver the vaccines for the colonists. And we kind of get this conflict at first between Spock's science and logic and Una's logic and Uhura's feelings. And I mean, I know they end up sending I feel that's where the really modern Trek has slipped in here on what was otherwise kind of a more classic feeling episode. Am I just grasping at straws, or is there something here?
Explain yourself. I'm trying to understand what you mean by that.
I guess I see that. I'm saying that I feel like the new Trek is showing with the focus on feelings and just gut instinct on Uhura's part, and they've tried to, and they're intentionally showing a dichotomy of that between logic and science.
I think there's been times where, even with the older Trek, they've kind of gone with the gut instinct and stuff like that. I think was it Star Trek V or where Spock said he made a guess, and Kirk was kind of really happy with the fact that he guessed. It wasn't like a proper. It wasn't a proper. And it wasn't. He didn't analyze it to the 9th degree. He just took a stab in the dark, and something like that I could appreciate. Like, I don't know. Sorry, I'm kind of waning and going off subject here, but you know what I mean. Kind of forgot what we were talking about, which is why I was talking about this. Why am I talking about this? Oh yeah, because of what you said regarding modern Trek.
Yeah, but I think that Daniel Vance is onto something with his latest comment. Thinking about it like that.
Kirk, Spock, and McCoy had the same dynamic. Kirk command on his mind, Spock was logical, and McCoy was all emotional about things. Yeah.
That's why McCoy always accused Spock of
having no
green-blooded bastard.
Green-blooded bastard.
Yeah. You green-blooded son of a bitch. He was the most bloody xenophobic. It was a lot. There hasn't really been a trio like them. In everything else, it's more duos. There hasn't really been a trio. After those three,
they tried to do a trio in Enterprise, but it just didn't work.
Who are they?
Captain, Archer, and T'Pol and Trip.
Oh yeah. I guess.
I always feel like they were trying to recapture that dynamic, but failed. But maybe that's just the Enterprise stan in me. Moving on, I made a point about Una's logic being very Vulcan in this episode. I believe Lord Donkey even already invoked the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one when discussing it. Would you guys agree with that statement?
Yeah, I mean, I was waiting for them to say that, to tell you the truth. But really, it was that moment. If Spock said that, then I would have created. In a way, I'm glad he didn't. But we all knew that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few was the whole point of this debate, without them having to say that. So, props to the writers to a degree. We knew what they were talking about, and they never had to give us that fucking line. which is fair enough.
Not yet.
Sometimes less is more, especially with references.
I
Like
mean,
Una and Spock.
Hmm?
Yeah, I guess.
Una and Spock. I feel like Una's been pointing out multiple episodes now where she's pointing out that she's the first officer. She's providing the counterpoint that, hey, yeah, we may have lost Erica, but we also have to go do this and save some people. So
I just think at the same time that even though they're all like of a significant command structure, they haven't really done anything together as a trio. Really, I'm trying to think of moments where, as a trio, they've done shit together. Like you can count countless times in the original trilogy and in the movies as well. But those three, Pike, Una, and Spock, I'm not so sure of.
the original
Even
trilogy.
though, yeah,
Okay. So once we shift to the science lab, when they're trying to figure out a way to communicate through the wormhole, Spock switches gears and kind of becomes supportive and helpful in his own way. And they come up devise that the only viable plan is to take the Enterprise into the wormhole, and in the words of Zam, make it a giant butt plug.
yeah.
Creating a stable warp field inside of it. And we've mentioned it already, but I really want to get into this Uhura fudging the numbers. The captain wants the 60% scannability, and she bumps it like 5%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's just like, oh, let me just touch that up a little bit there, tweak it.
Why is that option on there?
Why is that option on there, for one thing? And is that something that we're familiar with, seeing Uhura? Because normally she's pretty by the book and following orders, and I don't know. It's a new side that I guess tracks with TOS and on. Um, it was reminding me of when they were stealing when they were stealing the Enterprise in uh, the third movie, where
Yep.
she locks the guy in a closet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'll be
Yeah.
having eating it out of my hands in no time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No,
Sure.
so
USS Enterprise.
a little bit of
Gentlemen.
I would actually say, regarding the trio, I wouldn't say trio, but the quartet of Mariner and Boimler and the other
Rutherford
two.
and Tendi.
Oh, yeah, yeah. There's a quartet there, and it
Mm-hmm.
can be a trio at times.
That's built.
Because
That show's
sometimes,
built around those four, though.
yeah, but it
And
does become a
they
trio
were
at times because sometimes one of them ends up doing their own thing, and the other three just end up being together. So you were saying?
oh, just that grouping worked so well. But the show was built around that, and I
Yeah.
miss Lower Decks so much.
me too. Me too.
Mhm.
Um, so they end up with not enough time to scan all 396 moons. Okura comes
That is a lot
clean
of
to the
moons.
captain. That's a
That's a lot
lot of
of
moons for one
moons.
gas giant. But I mean,
Mhm.
if they're caught in the orbit, even something that's asteroid size can count as a moon.
Mm, it's
Um,
true.
but Pike knew about her fudging the numbers the whole time. Somehow, I guess Captain's gut, knowing his people, and
And
but he lets it
he kind
go.
of glad that he did, yeah, because he wants to save, and that's the thing that Starfleet
Hmm.
officers that have been on our television screens for the last several decades have always done is rebel. You know,
Oh,
gave us Division 14 for medical anomalies. Ortega's mentioned Division 12, which studies ghosts. God,
that's a good point. Hmm.
Zam
For
can't even with Division 12, apparently.
I'm immediately I thought
Exploding
maybe
ghost.
Crusher, but it's still bollocks.
Yes, Crusher
Yeah.
should head Division 12.
So Uhura comes clean, but Pike knew and lets it go. The Enterprise sees the explosion, and Pike sends down the landing party headed by Lon, and she blasts the hell out of the Gorn. And
That was a good effect that they showed from the Enterprise of the planet just being in, or the moon being enveloped in flames.
oh yeah, good
I did
CGI
like
there.
that. That's definitely something Erica would do. Absolutely, definitely
No
something she
doubt.
would do.
No doubt. Um, no, anything else in particular about that aspect, that B plot runner that we want to discuss? Or nope. All right, let's address the elephant in the room that is the twist. This whole situation's an experiment set up by an advanced ancient race, that old chestnut,
The Metrons,
the
right?
Metrons. Yep.
Metronyms.
Um, I figured it was something from classic Trek, and
Mhm.
Cheeto pointed out it was from the TOS episode The Arena. I didn't know which
Yeah.
one in specifically, but
As soon as the guy announced their name, I was like, "What's the metronome?" Because I know that that has to be something from old Trek. And sure enough, what is it? Memory Alpha, the Star Trek wiki had the classic picture from the old episode and the new picture from the person in this episode. Like they are on it, updated immediately.
bless the Uber
Already
nerds.
has an article like this is what happens in this. They were the first to
So,
encounter it.
this being it was also seen in the Gorn episode with Kirk. At the end of that particular episode, that Supreme being um
Mm.
looked a bit different this time round. You know, but regarding, I think that they should have kind of stuck with the same sort of dress code to make this person look like some sort of mystical sort of Roman, with the sort of man dress on and all that shit instead of this fucking toga. But all right, fair enough.
I
I
love
didn't
the
like
look.
it. I didn't like it. I mean, this person, this particular being, is very powerful. They're able to freeze the Enterprise crew members and stuff like that, and they're the Watcher, aren't they? They're the Watcher
Hmm.
of space.
Yeah,
They watch things. Don't really get involved too much. They just fucking watch things. And
except when they do, and like the Telosians, how do they how do they use this trope of super advanced being, species, civilization that is watching and playing a little experiment? How do they do that in a new and interesting way? And I don't mind that they brought this species back. That's fine. Is it a new and interesting way? I don't think so. But it worked for the plot of this episode and doesn't take too much off of the overall of the episode, I don't think.
yeah, um, yeah, it was very minuscule. So luckily, it can be kind of forgetful. But from uh, from I wouldn't say great episode, but something that felt a bit more return to form sort of episode that I didn't like. That was just
Mm.
one added layer I didn't like. And the fact that we didn't see Ortegas really investigate that secondary light, which I think we should have got some of those scenes. I know they're probably in the cutting room floor, they had to keep this down to a certain amount of time, but we should have got a scene of her trying to figure out where this light is and how to get to it and not being able to reach it. Something along those lines.
Yeah,
She did.
make
She
it.
did. Sorry, she did take a leap of faith, thinking that you could just call out this being and it would come. Yeah.
Because when the away team was just right there, and Ortega's is screaming at the air, um, she looked crazy. but she knew that there was something there, and it was a cool effect of everyone else stops in time in the transporter beam except Ortegas. Um,
This being
so
like Q
I did
level,
like
yeah,
that. Yeah,
isn't it? But Q level, Q can go back in time and stuff like that. Can this be do the same?
I don't
You know,
know.
and
I don't
if
remember. I don't know that I've seen the old episodes with
and
them.
if so, like if this being is so powerful, you know, almost omnipresent, then how the hell did it not know about us? You know, doing all these bloody experiments. It's just so stupid. But I've seen this done before as well. Um, no, sorry. The Metrons were also mentioned in Discovery as being advanced enough to have released the burn. Okay. I vaguely, actually, I don't remember that at all, but I get what you're saying. Damn it. Okay.
Yeah, I would not have remembered
Tito
that
says,
detail.
I would have rather the Gorn die in the burnout or succumbing to her wounds. Yeah,
Yeah, it felt like a
fair enough.
waste
Once
cliche
again, I still
ending.
have, I have no problem with Leon killing it. You know, shoot it, don't ask any questions. I have no problem at all with that. You know, I get it. Metro Logic, I found a red ant and a black ant and stuck them together to see what happens. Yeah,
Basically,
Good one.
but we've seen this before. I think. Um, oh God, what's the name of the guy who directed Iron Man? He was in it as well.
John Favreau.
John. Yeah, John Favreau. He played an alien. There was two of them, and John Favreau played one of them, and they were doing some sort of thingy on the Enterprise or something like that. But basically, they're doing some sort of experimentation, and they end up getting caught in a beam on the bridge, which kind of contained them, and they were shitting themselves and stuff like that. Do you remember those two of these aliens? This was an Enterprise episode of TNG. But I've seen this sort of shit before, yeah, even with the Q and stuff like that. You know, playing, space scientist, and we're the fucking lab mice. I've seen that shit before, yeah. So
and
it's weird. Like they have to take formulas that have been done before and put a twist on it, or because they really got very little choice now in what they can do. It's very hard to come up with something unique. I have no
yeah,
problems with it, but this was definitely 100% done before, and it was 100% enemy mine in space. Cheeto, tell me you've seen enemy mine. I need to know. One of you motherfuckers have got to have seen it, and if not, watch it tonight.
Um,
So
so I
sorry.
just want no need for sorry. The last thing I wanted to talk about is Ortega's putting the game piece up on the shelf next to her brother's picture. I thought that was a sweet moment, but a good visual representation of her having let go of her pain and trauma associated with almost getting got by a Gorn earlier this season. What did you guys think of that symbolism? Start with you,
Good,
Tony.
but I'm sorry.
No, go for it, Sam.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
It was good. I mean, like the Gorn had to die to a degree. It wasn't going to work with Starfleet. It wasn't going to just live off his life somewhere else and maybe have a farm somewhere on some backwater space hillbilly planet. No, it had to die. And that was part of the tragic nature of this whole episode. Yeah. So that's my thoughts on that.
And I like how Ortega's addressed it with Uhura that the Gorn was my friend, and La'an is also my friend, and I don't know how to deal with that.
I love that inclusion of that line, and hopefully we see something come of that kind of relationship dynamic between the two of them, if not in the next episode, then definitely next season, I hope we see something come of that, and that
Yeah.
this doesn't just become a throwaway line.
The whole Gorn plot for the whole season has just been kind of a throwaway with the second part there at the beginning, where we just put them to sleep. Goodbye. We'll catch you guys later. Um, and it's been building with Ortegas's trauma, where she keeps having the flashbacks and PTSD from it. So now it feels like there was a payoff to some degree for having the Gorn to begin with, because at the beginning of this season I was disappointed that they didn't do something more with the Gorn. That we started a war. No, we didn't. Never mind. We just brought on Scotty.
No, good
Point.
good point. Good point. So that's all I've got. Do you guys have anything other in particular you want to talk about before we mark it and go home?
This is the penultimate episode, correct?
Yes, it's
Mhm.
episode 9.
It is.
Okay. Yeah. No, I've got nothing to add. I'm very sorry. Yeah. I'm struggling to keep my eyelids open.
Exactly. So let's mark it and call it a night.
I'll go first.
Yes, sir.
Sure.
I'm stuck between the 6 and the 7, and that's not necessarily a detriment because it's above average. But we have to remember that this season has been very poor. So just because something better comes along doesn't necessarily mean it's great. It's just an improvement on what we've had before, and this is just an improvement of what we had before. It's not an amazing episode. It's just good. And so I'm going to be generous and give it a 7 out of 10 for that reason.
Okay. Lord Donkey.
See, I was floating between a 7 and 8, but I think maybe an 8 is too generous. So I will give it a 7 also. I agree. It's a return to form. Hopefully, the finale keeps up the same momentum. But we'll see. It's it definitely felt like it was back after what did we have 3 or just 2 episodes in a row that were 5s and below.
I
Quite a
can't
few,
remember.
actually.
Yeah, the overall quality has been very low, so
Yeah,
this
I think
did
it
feel
was
like a return
3.
to form.
Yeah, this was the first episode I enjoyed since the adventure in space time one.
Okay. Very fair. I'll now read Cheeto's mark. He gave it a 6 out of 10 after coming down from an initial impression of 9 out of 10, but the ending just killed it for him. This twist, he feels like ruined the episode.
I don't agree with that. I feel like it was kind of again, there's been a lot of throwaway stuff in this season. There's been a lot of, we're just going to do this to get the story started and then we're throwing it away. So the fact that there was some kind of watcher there, okay. Did it make any difference who it was? I don't think so. But I don't know. It I guess I just didn't really care about the twist. It was such a.
I
It was
these sort of
whatever.
characters, these sort of like supreme character, and they were so prominent in TOS. These godlike
Mhm.
characters. I really thought we kind of moved away from that shit. It was all good having a Q, which was like the ultimate, But
Mhm.
then other than that, all of these other ones, which was ridiculous. Like, let's move away from that. But they went with the nostalgia bait by trying to replicate what they did in the past with this, and
Yeah.
it wasn't warranted. And also this thing made Ortega's forget as well. Like they men in blacked her.
Wave the
Yeah,
wand.
yeah. You remember what happened on the planet. You'll just forget me. Okay.
Mhm.
I really agree. But on the other hand, I really enjoyed the episode as a whole. I didn't dread rewatching it like I've been dreading rewatching most of these episodes this season.
Oh God, sir.
You having to rewatch some of those bad ones, I commend you, sir.
I'm committed to
You are
this
the
program.
MVP.
I don't know about that, but I'm committed to the entertainment of our audience.
Thank you
But
so much for doing this, because I would kill myself having to rewatch some of these episodes again. They're one and done for me. A lot of Strange New Worlds, one and done.
Yeah. Often
yeah,
it's a quick, okay, put this on my lunch hour and go back to work. This one was. Also, this was the longest episode, 55 minutes.
Mhm.
When
Tito
last
says,
week, was it last week that it was 40? Or the week before?
yeah,
Where I had to
yeah,
cut some?
that episode where which was the documentary in space episode, that was
The
thankfully a very
consistency
short
has been off. But
43
anyway.
minutes. I mean, this episode was better because it had the additional length. It was able to flesh things out,
Mhm.
and it needed that, and yeah, and it paid off for making this a good episode. Um, I'm telling you, TOS nostalgia bait. Leon just kept capping the corn, and the mind wipe knocked it down from a 9 to a 6.
It has been a lot. Like, what else did they do this? I forget. I thought of something earlier. But anyway, back to you, Major. What was your mark?
I'm going to give it an 8 because I was thoroughly entertained. Uh, I enjoyed a lot of the symbolism. I really enjoyed getting to know Ortegas more as a character. I'm finding that I'm empathizing with her and kind of seeing bits of myself in her, especially that sense of humor that's a load-bearing coping mechanism. I got one of those too.
Hmm.
No Scotty today.
Understand
Was
that.
No,
there?
No Scotty.
unfortunately,
No
no Scotty.
Pelia.
But thank
Even
God, no Pelia.
No
she
Ortega's brother.
no,
Thank
she
goodness.
is. You got to start calling her Hocus Pocus. When you guys gonna start doing that? You know what I mean?
Oh.
Or one of Marge Simpson's sisters, one or the other. You know what I mean? So
We'll call her Selma.
yeah, like a female Alex Jones. Yeah,
To me,
that gravelly voice.
Pelia will always be
right in the water.
the Pelia. I will always think of the role that actress played in The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt first, and specifically the line that she has in that show where was it Titus walks in the room like, "What's that smell?" and she's like, "Is it the 15th already?"
She was. I'm not sure if I mentioned this to you guys before, but she was the ghost of Christmas Present in Scrooge with Bill Murray.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I did see Scrooge very recently, considering how
Oh,
long
it's a
it's been
Christmas
out.
movie. Christmas movies always get seen by everyone at some point. Yeah, she played the
Mhm.
ghost of Christmas Present, and she knocked Bill Murray the fuck out with a toaster.
Great
He
part.
deserves it,
Great flick.
honestly.
My
He
favorite
deserves it.
Christmas
Yeah,
movie. Well, second
yeah,
favorite after Die Hard.
Oh,
yes,
Die
of
Hard got a
course.
But
mention here.
Lethal
but
Weapon's a Christmas movie as well. Sorry.
It
I
is.
didn't realize that. It's been so
Oh,
long since
it's
I
Well,
watched the
definitely
original
Christmas.
Lethal
it's
Weapon.
it's like Die Hard in the sense that Christmas is there, but Christmas is not. Like I did this thing where there are films where are set around Christmas, and there's films about Christmas.
Hmm.
And Die Hard and Lethal Weapon are set around Christmas. It's not about Christmas, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, there is a
So
distinction
yeah,
to be made there for sure. But that's the
yeah.
sort of things that the audience can find if they subscribe to NerdTube and smash the bell icon so they never miss a video. We talk about more than just Star Trek here. We talk Star Wars, DCU, MCU, all sorts of stuff. Zam
Doing
watches games
Alien
and
Earth,
flicks, doing Alien
yeah, doing
Earth.
Alien Earth,
Aren't you? And you guys are doing Peacemaker as well, right?
yeah, doing Peacemaker as well. We're doing that tomorrow, Cheeto. Make sure we fucking don't forget that one.
I don't
We're
have
doing
HD
it. We do.
anymore.
And we'll have
Yeah,
uh,
I'm currently watching a series called The City Is Ours. I highly recommend it. It's a BBC iPlayer. And the third season of The Outlaws, which is a great British drama, is out. So I have to review that too. But I've already reviewed season 1 and 2. So eventually I'll get around to that. Eventually, just don't push me.
My Mike and I we're watching season 1 of Andor,
Oh, excellent.
which Cheeto should be happy about. We're back on watching that.
Well, welcome to Planet Earth. I hope you enjoyed it. Your stay
I know,
here.
right?
Yeah,
It's only been out for how long?
yeah, it's several years, but yeah, not season 4, but the movie will be coming out. The Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Okay, fine, no problem, Cheetah. Yeah, as long as we do it over the weekend. So
So plenty of reasons to subscribe to NerdTube. I want to thank my co-hosts. I want to thank everybody that showed up in the comments, everybody that's lurking. Zam, Donkey, thank you so much for doing this with me. So you've been watching NerdTube. It's the best social media channel that you maybe sort of kind of heard of. Live long and prosper.